Fans of Gold Rush have watched Parker Schnabel grow from a determined teenager into one of the most successful gold miners on television. Season after season, he pulled huge amounts of gold from the frozen ground while building a mining empire most people twice his age could only dream about. But behind the giant machine's brutal weather and non-stop pressure, one question has always followed him. Just how much money has Parker Schnabel really made? And the truth behind his success is far more complicated than most fans realize. Today, Parker is known as a confident mine boss with a fortune estimated around $10 million. But people often forget how young he was when everything started. He was only 16 years old when his grandfather, John Schnabel, handed him control of the big nugget mine in Alaska. While most teenagers worried about school, Parker was dealing with broken equipment, flooding ground, and the terrifying possibility of an entire mining season collapsing overnight. And this wasn't some small family hobby. The mine was John's life work. He bought the claim back in 1984 after surviving triple bypass heart surgery and spent decades turning it into a real operation. When John handed the mine to Parker, he wasn't just giving away land. He was handing over the family legacy. Parker later admitted he always wanted to follow in his grandfather's footsteps. In fact, that dream mattered so much that he dropped out of college after just one semester and returned to Alaska to help keep the mine alive. Then, in 2011, the cameras arrived. Suddenly, millions of viewers watched Parker grow up in front of the world. And what they saw was not always pretty. They watched him make risky decisions that scared experienced miners. They saw machines fail at the worst possible moments. They saw a teenager carrying pressure most adults would struggle to survive. But something else happened too. Every season, Parker kept improving. His gold totals climbed higher and higher. In Season 5 alone, he mined over 1,000 ounces of gold. Then came Season 7, when he chased an almost unbelievable goal of 5,000 ounces. Many people thought he would fail, but he came shockingly close. Before turning 25, Parker was already earning more money than many people make in a lifetime. But here's where things started to change. Behind the success, the exhaustion was becoming impossible to hide. Long days in freezing conditions pushed him to the edge physically and mentally. The cameras caught the stress on his face. They caught the frustration, the anger, the pressure of being the youngest person on site while still carrying the responsibility for everyone's future. Every bad decision could cost millions. Every breakdown could destroy an entire season. And then, just as Parker was reaching new levels of success, everything fell apart emotionally. In March of 2016, John Schnabel passed away at the age of 96 after battling congestive heart failure. Even before his death, his health had been declining for years. He had survived a serious heart attack during the early seasons of Gold Rush and later fought prostate cancer. Yet even into his 90s, John still showed up at the mine, still gave advice, and still tried to help guide the family business. His death was not entirely unexpected, but that didn't make the loss any easier. And for Parker, the timing made it even harder. Around the same period, Parker had just started a new relationship with an Australian veterinary nurse named Ashley Yule. The two met while Parker was visiting Australia, and eventually he brought her to North America to experience life with him in the Yukon. But instead of arriving during a happy chapter of his life, Ashley walked straight into tragedy. Parker later revealed that during her very first week in North America, he was preparing to bury his grandfather. That single detail revealed how emotionally overwhelming that period truly was. To fans, John Schnabel was more than just a miner. He became one of the heartbeats of Gold Rush itself. Calm, wise, kind. Producer Ed Gorsuch once called him America's grandpa, and the emotional core of the show was never really about mining gold. It was about family. A grandfather teaching his grandson everything he knew, then eventually trusting him enough to hand over the future of the business. But after John's death, Parker lost the one person who fully understood the pressure he carried. Other miners respected him. Some mentored him, some competed against him, but nobody understood him the way John did. He understood not just the business, but the emotional weight behind it. Losing that relationship at only 22 years old changed Parker forever. And instead of slowing down to deal with the grief, he buried himself even deeper in work. Mining became his escape, his distraction, his way of surviving emotionally. But there was a problem with that approach. The emotions never really disappeared. They simply waited beneath the surface, and eventually they caught up with him in a very public way. Ashley Yule quickly became a fan favorite during seasons 7 and 8. Many viewers believed she brought warmth and balance into Parker's stressful world. Even Parker admitted he could be difficult when things at the mine went wrong. Ashley seemed to soften that side of him. She worked alongside the crew, adapted to the brutal mining lifestyle, and handled the pressure of living inside a reality show watched by millions. But maintaining a relationship under those conditions was far harder than it looked. Then came the beginning of Season 9. Parker shocked fans by revealing that the relationship was over. What stood out most was how honest he was about it. He didn't blame Ashley. He blamed himself. He openly admitted that he failed to make the relationship a priority and said she deserved better. Later, Parker explained that emotionally, he simply wasn't in a good place. The grief over losing his grandfather never fully healed, and the pressure of carrying the Schnabel legacy alone was crushing him behind the scenes. From the outside, everything looked perfect. The money was growing. The gold totals were breaking records. His reputation was stronger than ever, but privately he was struggling. Parker admitted that work distracted him from dealing with his emotions, but eventually, the emotional damage started affecting the people closest to him. And Ashley quietly moved on. She returned to Australia, continued building her veterinary career, and slowly erased most public reminders of her time in the Yukon. But the breakup revealed something deeper about Parker's life that many fans never fully understood. The reality is that Parker lives an incredibly isolated existence. For months every year he works in remote wilderness, surrounded mostly by middle-aged miners. His entire life revolves around deadlines, breakdowns, equipment, and survival. Even during the off-season, he's planning for the next mining run. He once joked about spending most of his life surrounded by older men, but underneath the humor was the truth. His lifestyle leaves almost no room for a normal personal life. Former miner Todd Hoffman has openly admitted that spending 6 months away from home destroys many relationships and marriages in the mining world. Parker experienced that reality firsthand. The mine demands everything: time, energy, attention, emotional focus, and for years work always came first. But now something about Parker seems different. And fans have started noticing it too. At 31 years old, Parker Schnabel has become one of the most successful miners in Gold Rush history. Across 15 seasons, his gold totals place him near the top of the show's all-time records. He continues expanding operations at Scribner Creek in the Yukon and remains one of the hardest-working people on site. In Season 15, he even explored buying Rick Ness's operation, creating tension throughout the mining community. But surprisingly, one of the biggest changes has not been about money or gold. It has been about Parker himself. During a major machine breakdown that threatened millions of dollars, viewers expected the old Parker to explode in frustration. Instead, he stayed calm, focused, quiet. He immediately started solving the problem instead of losing control emotionally. It was a completely different version of the young miner fans met years earlier. And strangely enough, it reflected the advice his grandfather gave him all along. Be patient. Be kinder to people. It took years of mistakes and heartbreak before those lessons truly sank in. Now Parker openly talks about wanting something beyond mining. He wants a family someday, a lasting relationship, a life that exists outside the constant pressure of chasing gold. But that raises the biggest question of all. Can someone build a massive mining empire and still have a normal personal life at the same time? Parker Schnabel may have already conquered the gold fields, but the battle to balance success, love, family, and happiness might be the hardest challenge he has ever faced.